So that was round one. Now let's move on to round two.
So is there any difference between like how scenes are formulated in round two than from round one, or
No, not mechanically,
uh,
but since pretty much all of the scenes were kind of like before they were partners. I think that would be a good idea to have like a scene like sometime after their partnership was determined. If that makes sense.
okay, okay. So what I'm thinking for the second scene is that it's been maybe about a week or two since Frank was using the campus as his squat, and he has managed to clean himself up, make himself look a little bit more presentable. Some of his folk songs were like really popular when he was like on the street corner busking, and he was able to get some like decent clothes and like sort of start picking himself up some. And he decided that he was going to just sort of like use this as a fresh start to sort of rebuild his life. And so he got like some like appropriate clothes for the his new environment. And he started speaking with some of the faculty, and he was able to ingratiate himself with them, and he's got a sort of a stable job now as one of the janitors at the university.
Nice.
Nice.
And it was at this point that he got to get to know Lingxi a little bit better, and that's sort of what led to them eventually perhaps having this moment that they are destined to work together. So like, what is the like? Is there like what? How does it work when like two people realize that they were meant to be when they were meant to be partners?
I think it's kind of ambiguous. Like in the stuff that I saw, like in some of the replays, like they were kind of like like why are we put together like this? But then some of them were like, we were meant to be like this since we were born. So it's like it seems to be sort of like I might ambiguous.
Okay, so there's no right or wrong answer.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I think maybe Lingti found herself kind of like inexplicably interested in but yeah, I think she kind of found herself like inexplicably interested in Frank, and probably she's the one that helped him. She might have helped him get the janitorial job as well.
So so what I'm sort of thinking is a relationship between Lingxi and Frank is that despite the fact that he is a complete stranger in this land, and the fact that apparently in his own home, his old home, his own home world, he was living a far worse situation than Lingji could have possibly imagined someone could. Because he had no friends, no family, he was just sort of a wanderer going from town to town, never really accepted by anybody. And a lot of people never really even gave him the chance to. And that was sort of something that Lingji was curious about.
Yeah.
And it sort of eventually became sort of he sort of started becoming like a life mentor for Lingji. Because even though Lingji is like professionally higher up professionally she's higher up than he is, she sees that there is a lot she can learn from Frank and how to better organize her life.
So Frank is Mr. Wendell.
Wait, what?
What?
Hold on.
Mr. Wendell from Arrested Development.
You don't know this song?
No.
It's about a dude who meets like a homeless dude, and then he befriends him, and he's like Mr. Wendell like teaches him a bunch of stuff.
Nope.
Ha.
This is the second song you've shown me that I have not heard.
How is this possible?
You see, here's the thing. I've lived a lot of my life under a rock.
I live in Asia.
So, even though, yes, I was technically in the right era to hear about this, I did not. Because I played D&D before it was cool.
All right, fair enough. All right,
Yeah.
so I understand your character as a type. So
As a
listen
what
to the
now?
song and it'll make total sense.
All right. So yeah, that was sort of the start of the bond between Frank and Ling Ji. She believed
Okay.
that there was a lot that she could learn from Frank.
Okay.
And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and roll on the scene table again because I still have no idea where to take this scene. So no. Close a book you are reading. Something that you didn't know until now was written in it. All right.
That's such a good thing. Because
All right.
I do that.
All right. So Frank was just sort of pursuing his passions in the library of the school, and his passion, of course, is music. So he was learning.
Okay.
So he was reading up about just some of the folk songs and some of the traditions of the folk music of this world he's found himself in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll say that Ling Ji.
Ling Qi, but yeah,
Ling Ji. All right.
it's fine.
I got it. So Ling Ji happened to accompany him to the library because she happened to have free time and just wanted to see what sort of books that he would be interested in. And so he closes the book and starts trying to hum some of the melodies that he's read about in the books to himself. No.
Please remember that you're in the library.
Oh, right. Well, that's why I didn't break out. That's why I didn't take out my guitar when I was trying to practice this. That would have been a lot noisier than, just sort of humming it to myself.
That's not the point, but yeah, I've never actually read that book. So she sees that he's holding a book. She sees that the book he's holding is, strangely one that's unfamiliar to her, which is quite unusual because she's read a lot of books. And she's kind of curious about like the contents of it. So she's like, I've never read that one in particular. How is it? What's it about?
So he takes a look at the book, and says, "Oh well, it's just a collection about folk songs and a collection of folk music from, well, I guess one of the parts around here, some place called Tir Nanog." Which is really unusual for an Irishman not to know what that place is.
She's like, Tirinanog.
It was just some of their folk music and some of the history about how those songs came about. It's kind of interesting. It mirrors dear old Ireland in that way.
Ireland, that's the place you come from? Or rather, that's from the place you come from, right?
It's in the world that I come from, and it's where my family originally came from, but I was born in the good old United States of America.
I'm not sure where that is either, but it's fine. I guess she's like, I've never really taken much of an interest in music, or rather, It's not that I didn't want to, it's just that I didn't have the time. I used to play the lute a lot when I was younger, but I had to stop because I had to focus on my studies.
Oh, well, it's good and all to have ambitions, but it's important not to lose yourself in them. Because if you lose yourself in them, you might wind up forgetting who you originally were.
She like kind of laughs like I don't know who I originally was. What was I originally? I can't tell. I don't know if there was a me or that was originally there.
Well, if there was never a you that was originally there, there's never a time to find out where the you is or where the you could be found. He says with a soft, sagely sort of smile.
She kind of like glancing to the side and like she's very quiet. She feels a bit. She appears to be like contemplating what he just said, and she's like.
You see, the thing is, Lingji, you have a lot of time ahead of you. You're what, 17?
19.
19. Lingchi is 19. He says, sort of tapping his fingers, trying to come up with some sort of mnemonic so he's able to better remember his friend's age, his new friend's age. If you're anything like this, if people in this world are anything like the people of my world, you have at least 50 more years to figure out who you are. And also how to rediscover yourself and to get your life back on track. I'm 47 and, well, I never imagined I'd actually have a stable job and a stable place to stay. Or even a place where I would always be welcome. He says, the smile on his face broadening.
Okay, so what? So when she walked in, actually, she was holding a couple of the books that she was researching for her dissertation. So at this point, like her fingers kind of tremble a bit, and she sets them down on the table, and she sits next to Frank, and she's like, "Tell me about this book."
And so he goes on, opens the book, and points to one of the passages in the book, and begins explaining what the song was about, and what the historical context behind that song being written was. And I think that's a good place to end the scene.
Sounds good.
Yeah.